Bloating is extremely uncomfortable, frustrating, and it can mess up your confidence, your body image, and your performance. When bloating occurs, many people think that they should cut out an entire food group. But if you don't address the real root cause, it can make your bloating worse. I know this from first-hand experience. I went through the same cycle: bloating, restriction, more bloating, more restriction. The war never ends until you figure out the real reason. Hi, I am Merve Selin, a former lawyer turned dietitian specializing in sports nutrition and eating behaviors. Welcome. Bloating can come from several different directions. If it's occasional, like after a big meal or eating high FODMAP foods like cabbage, legumes, bulgur, or around your menstrual cycle, that's completely normal. But when it becomes chronic and it starts affecting your daily life, your confidence, and your performance, it's time to dig deeper. Because our gut is not just about digestion, it affects everything from our heart to hormones to immune system and even mental health. So in this video, I will walk you through 5 of the most common reasons of chronic bloating and how to relieve them, especially by understanding gut-brain axis and gut microbiota. Let's start with one of the hidden reasons behind chronic bloating, a fascinating one: the gut-brain axis. Our gut and brain are constantly communicating through nerves, hormones, and gut bacteria. These two ways of communication together are called the gut-brain axis. When we are stressed, anxious, or in what's called fight or flight state, our brain sends signals to the gut that change how it moves. Yes, we are coming back to the nervous system again. I explained how it affects our metabolism in my previous video, so I highly recommend checking it out after this one. Anyway, when we are stressed, our brain tells the gut that there is danger in the environment, so stay on guard. So digestion slows down and the food residues can cause constipation and bloating. Now imagine what happens if our nervous system gets stuck in that fight or flight state, or if we are naturally more sensitive and anxious people. It's easy for us to get in that state repeatedly. When that happens, digestion and gut motility stay impaired and bloating becomes chronic. And that's incredibly common in modern life. In between work stress, training, constantly pushing ourselves, our body rarely gets the signal that it is safe to rest and digest. That's why many of us struggle with chronic bloating. Studies show that stress alone can change gut motility and make us more sensitive to normal sensations in the intestine. So it's not all in our head, it's in our nervous system. Before I learned about my IBS, I kept thinking there was something wrong with what I was eating. Even though I was eating pretty healthy, I was still experiencing constant bloating. I tried cutting out food groups, different diets, restricting myself, but nothing worked. The truth was my gut was responding to my state, not the food I ate. IBS and other gut-brain related issues can be very hard to address. To diagnose them, doctors run multiple tests to rule out other possibilities like SIBO, Candida, food allergies, celiac disease, or lactose intolerance, etc. So if you're struggling with chronic bloating, before cutting out food groups or starting restrictive diets like FODMAP diet, please see your doctor first and work with a dietitian. Because that process, if done alone, sometimes can lead to disordered eating. After ruling out other possibilities, if nothing shows up physically, your doctor may diagnose you with a gut-brain axis dysregulation. Unfortunately, there is no one single medication or medical treatment for that. The solution comes down to lifestyle changes and nervous system regulation. Helping your body to shift into rest and digest state is the key. On my own journey, exercise was an absolute game changer. Building muscle through resistance training and incorporating moderate cardio and restorative movement helped me reduce my bloating dramatically. Exercise also helped regulate my emotional state and quiet the noise in my anxious mind. It improved my confidence and made me see my body as a tool, not an ornament to look at. The caveat here: prioritize recovery. Don't swing to the other extremes with too much high-intensity workouts. In the end, it all comes down to the balance and listening to your body. Secondly, meditation and affirmations help me rewire my brain toward a more positive mindset, which in turn allow me to activate my rest and digest state more often. Alongside these, dietary factors are also crucial. Eating mostly whole foods, paying attention to fiber intake, not too little, not too much. I used to overload my diet with fiber. Reducing artificial sweeteners as much as possible. Identifying your trigger foods and incorporating them in moderation. And of course, practicing mindful eating. These are all things worth considering. What's more, stress and anxiety can alter gut's bacterial balance, which can worsen bloating. And that brings us to the second major reasons of chronic bloating: gut microbiota dysbiosis. Gut microbiota dysbiosis refers to an imbalance in the gut bacteria. Our gut is home to trillions of microorganisms that support digestion, immunity, and even mood regulation. When this ecosystem is in balance, everything flows smoothly. But when the balance is disrupted, whether by stress, antibiotics, poor sleep, or dietary choices, things can start to go wrong. This imbalance can lead to excessive gas production, slow digestion, and increased gut sensitivity, all of which can trigger bloating. What's fascinating is that our gut bacteria communicate with our brain through the same gut-brain axis I mentioned earlier. So it's not just that our gut bacteria affects our digestion. They can literally influence our mood, cravings, and how our body responds to stress. And the opposite is also true. Chronic stress can disrupt our gut microbiome, creating a loop that keeps bloating persistent. Now, what are the common factors that can throw off this balance? Overuse of antibiotics or certain medications, highly processed foods, artificial sweeteners, lack of dietary diversity, eating the same few foods all the time, insufficient fiber or, in some cases, too much fiber all at once, poor sleep, plastic use, etc. On my own journey, I realized that I was doing many healthy things that were actually stressing my gut. Things like eating a high volume of raw vegetables or using diet products constantly and keeping my mind in that diet culture. Okay, don't be scared by this long list, because although things look so complicated in the microbiota field, actually supporting gut balance doesn't require anything extreme. Here are some ways to support your gut bacteria naturally. Eat a variety of colorful plant-based foods. Include fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, or kimchi. Limit artificial sweeteners and ultra-processed snacks, and regulate your nervous system. Remember, a healthy gut microbiome is not about perfection or obsession. It's about creating a healthy environment where your body will feel safe to digest, absorb, and thrive. In the next section, I will go over the final 2 reasons of chronic bloating, something that often goes unnoticed but plays a huge role: food sensitivities and undereating. Okay, this one is tricky because it's where many people jump to conclusions. Maybe it's gluten, maybe it's dairy, maybe I should stop eating carbs. Let me explain. Certain foods can trigger bloating, but these sensitivities are highly individual and should be carefully identified. When we start cutting out too many things without addressing the root cause, we can end up doing more harm than good. I know this very well because that used to be me. I went through phases of eliminating everything I thought was bad for my gut, but each time I restricted, my digestion got even worse. So consequently, eliminating food groups became a part of my eating disorder. At some point, my gut wasn't reacting to the foods anymore. It was reacting to the restrictive behaviors. That's stress. Underfooding, overexercising, eating in a rushed, anxious state were keeping my body in fight or flight mode. So even when I ate clean, my digestion couldn't function properly. Here's what happens when we eat too little for too long, or skip meals, or train too hard without refueling properly. Our gut doesn't get enough energy to keep things moving. This can slow down motility, mess with digestive enzymes, and cause that heavy, bloated feeling after even a small meal. And over time, this lack of enough enzymes can lead to bacterial overgrowth in intestine, aka SIBO. If you're someone recovering from an eating disorder or hypothalamic amenorrhea or dealing with low energy availability, you may be experiencing this situation. No matter how healthy you are eating, you may feel your digestion is off. In those cases, the real healing is about rebuilding trust with your body, eating enough, eating regularly, and giving yourself permission to rest. Of course, food sensitivities exist. Some people do have food intolerances and sensitivities, like lactose intolerant, gluten sensitivity, or FODMAP sensitivities. But these should be assessed under the guidance of a dietitian. Because what often happens is people start a restrictive diet, get temporary relief, then end up with a more sensitive gut over time. Because our bodies need all nutrients, and unnecessarily cutting out food groups may result in deficiencies. And also another factor, when you cut out a food, you also reduce the amount of bacteria that digest that food. So in the long term, your gut microbiota may forget how to digest that food. For example, if you eliminate dairy unnecessarily, your gut may begin to unable to digest dairy anymore. In the future, if you want to incorporate dairy again in your diet, you may not be able to digest it anymore. So rather than following popular diets, assessing our unique needs and making informed decisions are so important to protect our health in this noisy world. So realistically, if bloating has been a battle for you, remember this. It's rarely just about one thing. It's usually a mix of lifestyle, gut, brain, habits are communicating with each other. For some people, it's stress and nervous system overload. For others, it's gut microbiota imbalance, undereating, or food sensitivities. Also, there are many other reasons that I didn't cover in this video. The key is, instead of reacting aggressively, approach your body with curiosity and make the effort to find real root cause. And although all of these things look so complicated, actually the action steps are pretty obvious. Eat enough to nourish your body and fuel your training. Move your body without extremes and prioritize building muscle. Give yourself permission to rest, and recover properly. Eat diverse, colorful whole foods. Regulate your nervous system and practice mindful eating. And final note, carefully examine your trigger foods. Assessing how you feel after a meal can give you an idea. Okay, I know this topic is a little bit vague, but we will be talking about gut health in my future videos, so make sure to subscribe. If you want to ask questions, let's meet up in the comment section. As always, I hope you give the nourishment you deserve to your mind, your gut, and your soul. See you.